Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our new episode of Words of Wellness. My name is Yassir Al-Manawi. I am a clinical therapist and I'm going to be your host for today's episode. As usual, we talk about habits, we talk about characters, we talk about values, we talk about our psyche, the human psyche. And it's all connected together and it's all connected to our actions too. So today we're going to talk about one of the 7 deadly sins we talked about before, which is envy. We are going to talk about it in a slightly different way than what we usually do. But let's see. We're going to read the hadith first, and then we will talk about envy. And from Ibn Mas'ud, radiallahu anhu, who said that Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, said, "There is no envy except with regard to two. A man whom Allah has given wealth, which he strives to spend righteously, and a man whom Allah has given wisdom, and he acts according to it, and teaches it to others." What does that mean? It means that we shouldn't have any envy between any of us. Envy is, a lot of times people look at it like it's a bad word. I could be envious of something that's positive. I could be envious of somebody, and it's a positive envy. For instance, if I see somebody who is very successful, and I say, well, okay, one day I want to be like this man. That's positive envy. Negative envy is when I see somebody who's successful and I don't want to do anything and I wish that I have what they have without working for it. That's a negative envy. Okay. How do we deal with envy? You find a lot of people want to stay away from people who tell you, well, because he's envious, I don't want to be with him. Because he has an evil eye or whatever. Well, there is 2 ways to get away from that. Envy could be translated a lot of times as selfishness. A lot of people look at envy as if it's selfish. I want things for me. I want this for me. And I want that for me. But I'm not working for it. So how am I going to get it? I envy other people. You have the other flip of that. It's the same coin. It's selflessness. Selflessness. What does selflessness mean? And that's what this hadith was talking about. If I have knowledge, if I have wisdom, and I hold it to myself, and I don't share it with others, what happens to it? It dies. It's actually not usable. There is no use for it. Why? It didn't do any good for anybody. And that's, you know what? Without even talking about religion or anything, I tell you what, that's a sinful act. Because if anybody has any kind of knowledge, they should share it with other people. How do they share it with other people? Simply by telling them, giving it away. When you give away the knowledge that you have, you get more. When you give it away, you get more. The same thing with wealth. If you have wealth, and you keep it for yourself, that's selfishness. It's the same thing as knowledge, because knowledge is wealth too, and wealth could be translated into money. So there are 2 different kinds of wealth. Wealth is money, wealth is knowledge, wealth is power. So now we're talking about the knowledge and the money. If I have money and I give it away, I'll get more of it. Why? Because this is the way it goes usually. I'll work for it, because I get some kind of satisfaction out of giving it away and see other people making good out of this money. Knowledge is the same way. You find a lot of people having the knowledge and they don't give it away. Why? Because they are afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid that somebody else might know the same thing I know. So what? Other people could know the same thing you know, and they deal with it. You deal with it in a different way. Knowledge has to be given away. Wealth has to be given away. If they're not, they are actually a selfish action. So when we give away the knowledge and the wealth, we are being selfless. When we are selfless, we feel what? we feel satisfied with ourselves, we feel gratified, people will have gratitude towards us. Why or how? When you do something for somebody and they really appreciate it, that's gratitude. They appreciate you. And believe me, nothing in this world goes without a reward. So this is a self-reward. You feel internally, you feel strong, you feel you're giving, you feel you're helping other people, and the relationships with other people, which is what we talked about before, strength. You feel internally strong. You feel, a lot of times, you feel like you're needed by others. And that in itself is strength. Because if you lose this feeling that you're needed by others, and you're sharing with others, then you feel like there is no use. What am I here for? I'm not doing anything. You feel like nobody cares about me. Well, remember when we said, in order for you to have a friend, you have to be a friend? Same thing. In order for people to care about you, you have to care about other people. All of these aspects that we're talking about is actually a major components in treating depression, in treating clinical depression and or situational depression. If you put all of this together, we're talking about emotional baggages or emotional imbalances that we have in the society today, that if we take these teachings, these are what we use in our treatment. If we apply them to our daily life, the emotional imbalances are going to, I don't want to say disappear, but they're going to subside. They're going to go way down. Giving away things. We have a teaching in our religion that when I feel attached to something very much, that's the exact same thing that I have to give away. Why? Because it doesn't distract me. It doesn't cause me to be boggled with it or stopped right on my tracks. So when you give it away, it gives you a chance. It opens the door. It gives you a chance to get more, or to work more for what you get, or to learn more. I'm going to go back to knowledge, for instance. If I have knowledge and I give it away, I always have the urge and the need to know more. And the more I give away, the more this urge and need is going to continue with me. On the opposite side of that, if I keep my knowledge for myself, what's going to happen at the end is that I'm going to end up with complacency. Complacency meaning that I'm going to feel like, well, I know everything. I don't need to know anymore. I have a lot of knowledge, but I'm not sharing it with anybody. You know, have you ever seen somebody with a big ego? That's somebody with a big ego. It's like walking on earth like he's God's gift to everybody and everything. And that's what we need to get away from. Follow the teachings or spirituality. Follow the teachings of your religion, and you will live a healthier life. With these words, I'll leave you, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, and assalamu alaikum.